Two Worlds, One Family by Dragon Translator. Chapter 46. What's the Plan? Gyda entered with Sharpshot sitting upon her shoulder. He waited until she closed the door before flying to his roost right above Hiccup's head. Gyda stared at Hiccup and Astrid, eyebrow lifted, but did not say anything. She merely made her way to the other chair and situated under the beam that Toothless laid upon. Gyda, Hiccup began as the mage sat down, and a thought raced through Hiccup's mind. Did the tale you know show Outcast Island? If they could get insight on what the island looked like, they could plan with less unknowns, even within Hiccup demanding to know as few unknowns as possible. It showed the arena, Gyda said, at least for this part of the tale. There were other times we had to go to Outcast Island? Hiccup asked, frowning. Gyda tilted her head, then sighed. Yes. Hiccup grunted, feeling a headache building. He did not want to go this time, much less another. You did not seem surprised I suggested we give Alvin what he wanted, Astrid said. You did so in the tale, I know. Astrid grunted. Glad they got at least one thing right. Gyda laughed. She then frowned, staring at the wall behind Stormfly. Heather was not caught by a terror keeping watch over her alpha's den. Her gaze flicked to Sharpshot. Or where his brother slept, she said, smirking. Sharpshot snorted. She is just trying to help the nest. He said, Aha, Gyda said. Keep believing that, Sharpshot. Her gaze fell back to Astrid. You saw Heather sneaking around, but she was able to get back here before you could show Hiccup something was wrong. Did I tell him what I saw? Yes. I believed her, right? Hiccup asked. You went to see, but when Heather was in the spot she was supposed to be, you ushered Astrid out of the house. A pained look crossed Gyda's face. In the tale I know, you trusted Heather, even though Astrid said she thought something was wrong. Hiccup's eyes narrowed. She is not Astrid. His tone steel and clipping each word. Sooner or later they would all realize that Heather meant nothing to Hiccup beyond a young teenager stuck in a terrible position. Sooner or later they would see that the one in his lap meant everything to him. Gyda tipped her head, and then smiled at him. Good, she said. Very good. She took a deep breath. Heather didn't just sneak around. She talked with Fishlegs, Snotlout, and you, Hiccup. She praised each one for something they would respond to. Fish's knowledge about dragons. Snotlout, well, about himself. And you about your designs and drawings, and then suggested you shorten the connecting rod on Toothless's rig so that he would fly faster. Hiccup grunted. A shortened rod would yank Toothless's tail too much, and might pinch him. Most speed doesn't come from my tail anyways, Toothless grumbled. It keeps me balanced. It's my wings that grant me my speed. At least that's what Father always said. Gyda grunted. I see. She shook her head. Anyway, she also befriended Stormfly and took her. Took her? Hiccup tightened his hold upon Astrid as her voice dropped below freezing. Stormfly squawked, as if I would let that female anywhere near my back. She is not my alpha or my rider. Gyda hummed. She fed you chicken, Stormfly. Stormfly snorted. That is something I will only take from the hand of my alpha or my rider. You would not take it from my parents or brothers? Astrid asked, letting her head fall back so she could see her dragon, if upside down. Hiccup's teeth clenched as an urge to kiss her neck threatened to rush over him. He really needed to know what was going on and why this was happening. He could keep his focus better at the beginning of their courtship, and right up to the point she kissed him on that sea stack. He had worked at it even before Gyda returned. With the common tongue, Toothless and Sharpshot had been helping him whenever it was just the three of them. Right now it seemed as if all that work was for naught. Only if you allowed them to, Stormfly said. "You've said it was a treat for me from you, so I will not accept it from anyone other than Alpha, unless you're okay with it." "But why Hiccup?" Astrid asked, still looking at her dragon upside down and tempting Hiccup all the more. "He is Alpha. He outranks you." Astrid snorted but lifted her head. Hiccup quickly looked away, but the gleam in her eyes told him she had caught him staring at her neck. Hiccup felt her hand caress his tunic. Gita cleared her throat. Toothless chortled. "Glad I'm not the only one who caught that." He said, "I'm a mother," Gita said, leaning forward and shifting to look up at the dragon. "And my eldest is in a matehood." "This is nothing new to me." Hiccup grunted, but then frowned. "Wouldn't a dragon's courtship go differently than a human's?" "Yes," Gita said, shifting back to look at him, "but the feelings and desires are very similar." Hiccup felt his cheeks warm. His gaze flicked to Gita's and then looked away. "Hiccup," Gita said, "they are normal. Don't worry." Hiccup blinked, but relaxed. If Gita said what he was feeling was normal, then he would not worry about it. He would still find out what it was about, but he would not try to fear something that was wrong with him. He would try to temper his dread that he was one step away from annoying Astrid to the point she called off the courtship. He cleared his throat. "I'm guessing we got Stormfly back," he said in an effort to think about anything else. "And the tale shows Outcast Island because of Heather taking Stormfly?" More or less," Gita said. "So what plan have you two cooked up?" We didn't make a plan," Hiccup said, looking towards the wall. Gita snorted. "I figured," she said. "You both had to reassure each other before you could plan anything. However, I suspect each of you voiced ideas running around in your mind over what to do. You'll find they are eerily similar." Hiccup looked to Astrid and smiled. "You first." Astrid tilted her head. "We used charcoal to make my hair black, like Fishleg said. I take the old Book of Dragons and a boat to Outcast Island. Once there, I convince Alvin that I'm Heather, and try to feed the people she knows and any dragons Alvin has in his arena. You and the other riders come rescue me, and in doing so, we get everyone out." Hiccup blinked, then looked at Gita. She grinned. Hiccup shook his head. "How did you know?" "You two make a great team, both now and in the tale I know. Your minds and thoughts follow similar paths now that the threat of the war is over. Differences will arise, that's inevitable. But you'll find that you both will reach the same point most of the time." Hiccup tilted his head. "I guess one difference is that I think myself and the other riders should wait until Astrid gives us a signal, so that we know she has Heather's parents and that helmsman." He knew he would have to, even if everything within him screeched in protest. "You wait?" Astrid asked, looking at him with a quirked eyebrow. "Not really willingly, but I know you are a capable warrior, and I trust you to take care of yourself." Hiccup sighed. "I have to keep telling myself that because I want to keep you in this house and far away from Outcast Island. But I know you can do this." "Thank you, Hiccup," Astrid whispered. "Some of my mom's family tried to warn me that you would make me give up training and defending the tribe." "I don't want you to change," Hiccup said. "You wouldn't be the girl I admire if you did." Astrid smiled and kissed him. Hiccup returned it. He heard Gita snort as the dragons gave exasperated chirps and warbles. He lifted his head and stared at all of them. Gita merely laughed. The dragons chuffed, but did not look repentant. "Gita?" Astrid said. "What will you do?" She frowned. "You're going still, right?" "Of course," Gita said. "I placed my life as payment if you come back armed." "He won't kill you for that, you know. I'm a warrior. I'll get hurt." Gita grunted. "I lived my entire life in a kingdom where our words were our bonds. That was doubled for those who could wield magic. It's something Nana taught Dad, and Dad taught me, as it was Dad's side of the family that magic flowed through. Just because I am here now and have a liege lord who won't have my head taken for the smallest reason, doesn't mean I'm going to forego what I've learnt.
And we wouldn't want you to change either, Hiccup said. But how will you work with the plan Astrid came up with?
We both came up with, Hiccup?
Hiccup stared at Astrid for a long moment, then snorted and tipped his head. Fine, he said. Still, the question remains. How will you going help? Dog's breath is sure to recognize you.
Gyda sat up straighter and closed her eyes. A shimmer covered her, and when it faded, Hiccup's jaw dropped. Astrid hissed and the dragon squawked, even Toothless, who normally did not make that noise. Gyda's brown hair was now blonde. Her eyes, now opened, stayed brown, but where there had been warmth was now a coldness that caused the hairs on the back of Hiccup's neck to rise. She even sported a scar that left her right cheek jagged. The shimmer flared again, and Gyda returned to her normal self. I said I can use illusions that make others think something is something else entirely, she said, grinning. I can hold the illusion long enough to 1. Reblock Dog's breath memories, thus eliminating that source. It won't stop what Alvin already knows, but he won't be able to get more details out of the boy. I can watch out for Astrid as she does what she must, and if we have to fight our way out. Gyda shrugged. I suspect lightning bolts from a cloudless sky that unerringly hits metal swords would discourage even the most hardened fighters.
And for those not discouraged? Hiccup asked.
Gyda sighed. Are you asking me if I will kill someone? The answer is yes. I will kill anyone on that island that I have to, in order to keep Astrid safe, Hiccup. You would not survive well if you lost her. I know that.
No, I wouldn't. The one thing I am like Dad in, I guess. He just shut down after Mum was taken. At least according to Gobber. After you and our memories returned, he sat me down and told me the whole story.
You are more like your father than you realize, Hiccup. Gyda said. You both took to the acting chief thing with aplomb.
With what?
Gyda laughed. Aplomb! It basically means poise and self-confidence. You handled things like mildew just as a chief would, even back when Firestorm was hurt and you calmed him.
She's right, Hiccup, Astrid said. Those Vikings watching did not protest when you ordered them back to work. They left immediately. I'm sure the Ring of Dragons helped with that.
Hiccup said. You sell yourself short, Gyda said.
Huh?
Gyda smiled. You place too little worth upon yourself and the changes you have brought, and the leadership ability you hold.
Brother, Toothless said softly, listen to her and your intended. They are right.
Hiccup sighed but nodded his head. He still did not believe it. He still did not see what they said they saw, but he trusted them not to lie to him. Astrid sighed. You'll see, she whispered. One day, you'll see what we do. Hiccup smiled and caressed her cheek. Gyda hummed. As loath as I am to break this party up, I suspect we should talk with the other riders and finalize this plan.
Hiccup frowned, reluctant to let Astrid go because that would mean she would have to get out of his lap.
Astrid snickered and kissed his cheek. She then shifted so she could whisper in his ear. When I get back, we can do this again. All good warriors give their chiefs a report at the end of a task they are given. All good humans will have their chaperones at these reports, Sharpshot said, looking down upon them. No eavesdropping, Astrid said.
Oh no, Toothless said. Keep eavesdropping, little brother. The Night Fury then snorted and shook his head. You know, I think I'll be glad when you two are old enough to have a matehood ceremony. I might be able to take a nap in the sun when you're both together. Toothless cut his eyes at Hiccup and grunted, which is all the time.
You'll get that nap until the eggs they lay after their mating flight hatch, Stormfly said. Then Uncle Toothless will have to hatchlings it.
Toothless's head fell upon his paws with a loud groan. You just had to say that, didn't you, Stormfly?
Of course I did. Wait, wouldn't Aunt Stormfly help Uncle Toothless?
Sharpshot asked.
I'll be there to keep both of you from spoiling the hatchlings,
Stormfly said. We will not! Both Toothless and Sharpshot protested at the same time. Guys, Hiccup said, his cheeks and ears burning, and he was certain each were as red as Hookfang's scales. Can we leave the discussion of children until later? Where would be the fun in that, brother? Toothless said. Hiccup groaned as Astrid and Geeta snickered.
End of chapter. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that one. A good chapter, that one.
God, Geeta can see straight through them. But the fact that she's on it, but the fact that Astrid is on that Hiccup's lap the entire time. Oh my God, I am loving this so much. But then again, I keep saying it, Hickstrid forever.
Anyway, you guys know the drill. Like, comment and subscribe and hit that bell to get notified when I upload a new video. Have a good day and night or whatever time zone you're in. Bye my guys, gals and non-binary pals. I'll see you in another video. Take care.